This is Gemara Avodah Zarah, Daf Nun Vav, and we're holding on the top of Nun Vav Amud Aleph. We are 4 lines down, in the middle of the incredible sugyas of Yayin Nesech, a fan favorite personally. And as we mentioned, anyone that would like a copy of a sefer we wrote many, many years ago, Wine, Whiskey, and Halacha, which aside for the Sherry Cast Shaila, deals extensively with Inyanim of Yayin Nesech, please reach out. We'll happily send you a copy. Says the Gemara 4 lines down, at what point, and as we mentioned when we learned the Mishnah, there is critical importance of this lahalacha, because you have to know where you're allowed to have goyim inside a kosher wine factory, because the moment that it's considered a yayin wine, if a guy touches it, it becomes yayin esech. The moment prior, then a guy could handle it. Asks the Gemara, so the Mishnah said that it's not considered yayin until it goes into the bar. V'hatanya or v'hatanan. We learned in a Mishnah, Mayim misha yikfeh. When the scum forms on the surface of the wine, it floats to the top. That is the point that it becomes yayin, which obviously is much later. It's not just at the point that it goes into the bar. Amar Rava Leikasha Rabbi Kiva Rabbanan. This is a machlokes, explains Rava. Titanan, we learned in a Mishnah. Yain mishayeri labar. Rabbi Kiva Omer mishayikves. The Rabbanan are a Mishnah, and Rabbi Kiva argues. Ibaylu, ask the Gemara, Kiboy Dibor Debar. When Rabbi Kiva says, when this yikve, when the scum floats to the top, is this in the cistern? Or kiboy the chavis, or this in the chavis? At what stage was Rabbi Akiva referring to? Tashema de Tanya, we learned in a brisa. Yayin, wine, misha yikve, when the scum floats to the top. Afal pi, even though shekipa, even though the scum is at the top. Koilin minagas, if you took it from the wine press all the way to the top one, and from the drain pipe, vishais, and you drank it. So then that's where you're allowed to do it without taking off maestros. So that's a brisa. What do we learn from there? Shema no. What do we learn? Kiboy dibar kamrinon. We see that the time of kiboy that we're referring to, the time that's considered a completed entity, it's going to be in the bar. Shema no. Concludes the Gemara, that is a good raya. Continues the Gemara, Vatani Rav Zvid b'dvei Rav Ishia Rav Zvid taught a brayso of the Shiva Rav Ishia. Yaim Misher lebar v'yikve. Rav Kiva Aimer Misha Yishla b'chaviyeh. So a different brayso. This brayso Rav Kiva holds when you draw it from the cistern into the chavis, into the barrels, the casks. So it says the Gemara, we see that this is obviously at the later stage, not at the stage of the bar, but rather at the stage of the chavis. Answers the Gemara, Tirtsanami lahach kamaisa hachi. Explain the first brayso as follows. Yain b'shir labar v'yikveh. Wine becomes meiser when it goes into the bar, and the scum floats to the top. Rav Kiva Omer misha yishla b'chaviyeh. Rav Kiva says, when you draw it into the casks. So the Gemara is switching a minor nuance. In the original brayso we had, it said what? Yain mishyered. Says the Gemara, we have to change the first brayso. So this is the way the second brayso. Again, Vatani Rav Zvid, what? Yain mishyered the bar v'yikver. Kiva said mishiyeshta. Problem was that the first brayso, what did Rabbi Kiva say? Stam misha yikfeh, towards 8 lines to the top. So explains the Gemara, no. Change that brayso to read misha yishla b'chavius. What's the problem? Now we have a problem with our Mishnah. Should we say that we're coming out now that there's 3 opinions? Meaning we had a kasha to start. We answered it's about Machlokes of Kiva and the Chacham and everything is good. But now says the Gemara, for changing that brayso, comes down to we have 3 different opinions. Says the Gemara in the last line, Loi, Shaini ayinesach dachmiru bei rabbanon. We have a difference between Yayin Nesech, and the dinam of Meiser. The last prices that we're quoting, when we said Misha Shebechavis, that's when it is a Chiv in Meiser. So we thought, what? That it's the same stage. It's the stage it's considered a complete entity. Says the Gemara, no. By Yayin Nesech, B'davka, due to the Chumrah of Avodah Zarah, we're going to be Machmir at an earlier stage, and we're going to be Machmir that has a status of Yayin, only with regard to Yayin Nesech, not with regard to all dinim, from when? At the stage in the scum of the bar, according to Rabbi Akiva. But ask the Gemara as we turn over to Nanvavam Ebeis, the Rava Tel Shaini Lei, Bukim Lei, Tilasa Tanani, according to Rava, who did not answer as such. So what does Rava have to say? So the Gemara, just tying up all loose ends, says the Einach Hanami. According to Rava, we have to say there are three different shitos. And on the second line of the Vavam Beis, we quote the Mishnah. Masha B'bar Aser. Vashar Mutter. We said when you draw it into the pit, so then what's in the pit has the din of Yayin Nesach, but not what's on top. Amar Rav Huna lo yishanu ala shloi hechzir gar goyiseinu legas. Says Rav Huna, the din that we just taught, that only that which is in the bar is aser, but that which is up top is not, is only when you didn't put it back up. You didn't take that after you strain it and you put it back up for further pressing. If you put back up that which you strained out back to the gas, then aser, everything will be aser, because of the Yayin Nesach in the strainer that's being mixed back with the original wine. Ask the Gemara, wait, why is that which is in the strainer aser? Benitzoik must be via the stream. Again, you have the crushed grapes, and then it just flows down into the bar. So that which is in the bar at the bottom we're saying is aser. That which is at the top is not. And now we're discussing in the straining stage. So we just explain that if you take that and you put it back in, that's going to aser everything. So it says the Gemara clearly, why is that which is in the strainer aser? Must be because it's connected. Benitzoik, the stream connects it with that which is in the bar. If this were to be true, says the Gemara, we have a Gevaldik Araya. Shema Mina Nitzok Chibur. A large sugya. Says the Gemara, you know what we see? We see that a nitzok, a stream, can mechaber, can connect things legally. That when one thing is aser, will be connected and answer up the other via the chibur. And this is seen, says the Gemara, no. I'll give you a different answer. Talking about where the flask rose until it touched the funnel. So explains the Gemara, no. It's not just the chibur that's connecting the strainer to the wine in the bar, and therefore we're saying that the stream connects it. No. But rather, actually, the wine itself was raised up and touches it, and we do not have a raya to need to chibur or not. Says the Gemara halfway down in Vav and Beis. First word on line is Shapechas bar. Hahu Yenuka Detaga. Says the Gemara, there was a child who learned Avodah Chavim b'Shes Shni. There was a child that learned Mesechus Avodah Zarah when he was 6 years old. So they asked him, are you allowed to go together with the guy in the wine press and crush the grapes? You're allowed to. Says Mar, but wait, why is it not considered that a guy makes the wine yayin nesach in his hands when he steps on it, and therefore it should make it aser b'ana? Explains the Gemara, the child says, you know what I meant? I meant only when they tie up the guy's hands, and therefore he doesn't touch the wine. Says the Gemara, his hands are tied up, but how do you crush grapes with your feet? Says the Gemara, the fact that you touch it with your feet, and the fact that maybe the guy had kavanas avodah zarah, that he wants to be menasech, he wants to pour avodah zarah with his feet, that is not called a nisach, and that will not be aser. The simple reason is because it's not a chashuv way, and therefore it's not going to be considered a form of Avodah Zarah to do it with the feet. Says the Gemara, one more story. Avodah, there was a story, David ben Ardai. Tidashu Yisrael va'akum lahu chamara. A yid and a guy whose hands were tied up stepped on graves belonging to Yid. V'shehiyah Shmuel talasa regli. And what did Shmuel do? Shmuel postponed for 3 regalim. He didn't paskin on this shayla. So my time, why didn't Shmuel paskin? Lame of the reason is Bisham de Kasavar, as we turn over to Nun Zayin Amar Aleph. You know why Shmuel didn't paskin? Because he felt Timishkachin Tana de Asar. If I find a Tana who answers, Kirebi Nasan, like the Bin Rebbe Nasan, Asr Nafil Bana, then I'll say it's Asr, even Bihana. It says the Gemara, that can't be the reason why Shmuel did not paskin. Why not? Titania, on the second line of Nun Zayin Amar Aleph. You know why? Because we learned in a Brayso Shitas from Nasan. We're going to stop over here, pick it up from here, Shitas from Nasan, figure out what's going on over here, and the next year, Siyata Dishmai.